How's it going, everybody? JP here. Welcome back to another episode of A Closer Look At. This is episode number 5, and this series is where we take a Scream Factory release and we completely review it from top to bottom, cover everything that it has to offer. And this edition, we are talking the release that was released on November 6th, 2012, and we're going to have a closer look at John Carpenter's They Live. Presentation for They Live is more on the basic side of things, at least for Scream Factory's collector's editions. We have the slipcover, and then we have the standard keep case Blu-ray. On the inside we have a single disc. It is a Blu-ray, no DVD combo here, but we do have reversible cover art. They did include the alternate tagline here on the reversible cover art, which is pretty cool. We have the collector's edition slipcover and, of course, the reversible cover art. No DVD combo, so 3.5 out of 5 for presentation. First up is the newly designed artwork created for the collector's edition. I really like this artwork. It has so much stuff going on. You have Roddy Piper and Keith David front and center with assault rifles. You have the police, riot patrol. You have all the, different town things, the obey, sleep signs, the aliens up at the top, and of course even those little minor characters, the floating orb things that are, like camera devices. I really just think this cover really kind of showcases the film very well. This is definitely some good artwork. It's what I look for out of Scream Factory's newly designed artworks. Second, we have the original theatrical artwork. It's very simple, but I just love this one. A close-up of Roddy Piper's face with the reflection of the alien beings in the sunglasses. I like the font over They Live. Of course, the tagline up in the top. Overall, I just think it's very simple, but it's very effective for what the film is. Third, we have the disc art, and it really is just a cutout of the original theatrical artwork. I always like when they change up the disc art, but you can't always have that. I really enjoy both the original artwork and the newly designed artwork. I give They Live's artwork 4 out of 5. Special features. First up is an audio commentary with director John Carpenter and actor Roddy Piper. This is actually a really good commentary. It moves along at a great pace. They cover a lot of different topics throughout the commentary. They talk about, the actual filming, John Carpenter and how he met Roddy Piper at WrestleMania 3. And Roddy Piper talks a bit about the politics of the professional wrestling industry. Carpenter talks a bit about, similar politics in the film industry. They talk about the lengthy fight scene. They really talk a lot about their relationship with each other and how they enjoyed making the film. Roddy Piper describes what it was like working with John Carpenter, and plenty more, especially Piper when he talks about his personal childhood and, how he, grew up struggling and how it kind of related to the character that he was playing. Very good stuff here from John Carpenter and Roddy Piper. Second, we have Independent Thoughts, an interview with writer-director John Carpenter. This one runs about 10 minutes. So John Carpenter talks about his resistance towards authority. He talks about the Reagan era. He talks about the ideas and concepts behind the film, the social commentary aspect of it. He talks about filming, the fight scene, casting. He talks about it all in this 10-minute span, and it really is interesting to hear him talk. And there's even a couple funny moments in that one. That's a really good interview. The third special feature is another interview. This is Woman of Mystery, an interview with actress Meg Foster. This one runs about 5.5 minutes. A pretty short interview here, but we do get a lot from Meg Foster. she really is kind of an interesting person when she speaks. She's kind of really is an attention getter, and she talks a little bit about the themes of the film, the legacy of the film, her time on the film. Pretty basic stuff here, but it's still really interesting. Next up, we have Watch, Look, Listen, The Sights and Sounds of They Live. This one runs about 11 minutes, and it goes into a bit of detail on the alien designs. It goes into the stunt work. They have the stunt coordinator on there who really does a good job of kind of explaining the whole process of getting that long fight scene together. Talks about working with Keith David and Roddy Piper and working as a stunt double and a alien. He played most of the aliens in the film, and that was really interesting to hear him talk about it. Very charismatic person, the stunt coordinator, and he's very fun to listen to. And then you have John Carpenter talking about how he composed the music for They Live, and that is actually really interesting. And you guys know that I'm not a huge fan of like the behind the scenes of the music production, but when John Carpenter talks about how he creates his, scores and stuff for his films, it is really, really interesting. Then we have Man vs. Aliens, an interview with actor Keith David. This one runs about 11 minutes. Really cool stuff here. He actually goes quite a bit into his work on The Thing, which I actually found more interesting than when he talked about They Live. That's probably because I'm such a huge The Thing fan. It's one of my favorite horror films of all time. So that was very interesting hearing him talk about his work on The Thing. And he tells a little story of when he went to a bar wearing all kind of Thing gear, and the bartender saw the movie and told him that he wasn't in it and stuff. The little funny stuff there. Of course, he talks about the fight scene and all that. Very interesting stuff from Keith David. After that, we have Original EPK, The Making of They Live. This one runs about 8 minutes. This is kind of a behind-the-scenes footage press kit that was sent to all the different press outlets back in the day. Just, behind-the-scenes stuff, showing off characters and the fight scene and talking a bit about the film. John Carpenter does. Pretty standard stuff here. It's not that entertaining, but it's a nice look back. After that, we have Never Before Seen footage. This one runs about 2.5 minutes. Of course, in the film They Live, there's all these different TV commercials that are shown throughout the film. Well, it turns out they filmed a lot of them, but only used a couple of them. So these are all the ones that were kind of put back together to the best of, Scream Factory or whoever's abilities, and it's kind of just a bunch of fake television clips. They're kind of funny, definitely dated in terms of it really screams 80s when you watch them, which makes it that much more entertaining. So it's kind of a nice little look back. Then we have TV spots, of course. TV spots, I've noticed that these ones, they really kind of build this as like a really sci-fi film, which it kind of is anyway, but especially in the TV spots. And then we have still galleries, 2 minutes and 17 seconds worth of still galleries. Not really anything of interest there. They don't even have any like foreign posters or anything, so that was a bit disappointing for me. And then finally, to round it all out, we have trailers. They have the original theatrical trailer of They Live, which I gotta say, man, was a pretty good trailer. They don't show a lot of the like aliens, and you don't really know what's going on in the trailer. So I kind of like the marketing behind that. And it also has Halloween 2 and 3 trailers, which they already exist on the other Scream Factory discs, so I'm not going to talk about them. But I actually did have to watch them because I just love the score right at the beginning of Halloween 2 and Loomis talking. So yeah, that rounds out the extras. And I give They Live, because I do think that this is pretty packed with special features. There's a lot of great interviews here. The commentary is great. I gotta give it at least a 4 out of 5. So 4 out of 5 for special features here on They Live. The transfer for They Live is really good. The film is shot in a lot of interesting locations that really do come across very clearly. Crumbling concrete, dirty alleyways, streams and broken bottles and things. Then the texture of like the tattered clothes is all very clear. The aliens look great in the black and white, and when you see them later in the film in color. Overall, 4 out of 5 for transfer. They Live, from the year 1988, with the tagline of, "You think they're people just like you, you're wrong, dead wrong." Of course, this film is directed by the one and only horror legend Jonathan Carpenter, and it's starring professional wrestler Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper's character Nada is a drifter who is super down on his luck, looking for a chance to just get back on his feet. You can tell right away that this is a character who has been pushed down and dirt kicked on throughout his entire life. He gets a job at a construction site where he befriends Keith David's character, and they become pretty good friends right away. You can tell they're very similar people, so they butt heads a little bit, but at the same time you can see a genuine friendship building. Roddy Piper stumbles upon a pair of sunglasses with special powers, and he realizes that the world is infested with aliens and being run by aliens who kind of have these weird skull-like faces that he can only see when he puts on the glasses. He also sees that the world is filled with hidden messages, with all the brochures and billboards and money. Everything that he sees is just white with black bold lettering that says things like obey and go to work and don't talk back to authority, things like that. He realizes that the whole world is in trouble and he is kind of the hero that is going to save the day. And he instantly starts taking out aliens, and he's trying to uncover, along with Keith David, what's really going on. I find myself enjoying They Live more and more every time I watch it. The first time I seen it, I wasn't super crazy about it, but as I've seen it more and more times, I like it more and more. Roddy Piper is a genuinely likable character. He is kind of the everyman's man, and he really is a good guy. We don't know much about him. There is some character development between him and Keith David, but we don't really know a whole lot of backstory. We get little hints of it here and there, but you see, a long history behind his eyes. He has kind of a stare. He is thrust into this craziness, and he just had enough, and it's kind of like his chance to explode and be somebody. The relationship with Keith David is actually very important in this film. It feels like it is one of the cornerstone scenes in the film. There's a long fight scene with him and Keith David, and you can see it's not just a fight scene, it's a fight scene between two friends, which really adds some depth to it. Of course, you have tons of social commentary with John Carpenter. I believe this was during the Reagan era, and that's interesting. A lot of stuff to look at and dissect there. Now, I will say that this film, when it really gets to the third act climax, it feels like it was kind of short, and it feels like you're building the whole time in this film, and the payoff isn't that great. I do like the very end of the film, how all of that goes down. It's a very solid film. I would have liked maybe a little bit more of the aliens and what's really going on. We don't get a whole lot of that, but it's a fun film that it's really kind of unique. So I give John Carpenter's They Live an 8 out of 10. This release is definitely one of my favorites out of the early Scream Factory releases. The cover art is great, both past and present. Some fantastic special features, lots of interviews. All of them are very interesting and fun to listen to. Of course, the commentary. Anybody who likes commentaries should listen to that. John Carpenter, when he talks, he's such a legend. You just want to listen to what he has to say. And even for somebody who's not a huge wrestling fan, Roddy Piper brought a lot to the table, and he was very fun to listen to also. And of course, the film itself, a John Carpenter classic. It may not be in the top tier of his films, but it definitely holds its own. And I gotta say, I highly recommend They Live. You can get it for about $15 or so now. It might not come with the slipcover since it's so much of an older release, but it's definitely obtainable for a solid price. So I highly recommend They Live, and next time we will be journeying into the first of the non-collector's edition releases, so that should be fun. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.